Good evening, Dean Davis, LiveWeatherBlogs.com meteorologist here. We're taking a look here at what is Irene. Irene's located above the Dominican Republic now, and it's going to continue and become a major hurricane as it goes through the Bahamas, then turning its eyes to the Carolinas and possibly Georgia, mainly a North Carolina threat at this point. And the models are kind of shaking back and forth of where it's going to go. We got some models showing, an easterly turn. Some models still putting in this, the H wharf still putting it here, but some models are putting it along the coast and making it a coast rider. But we have to remember this storm is a large storm. When I show you it on satellite picture, you got to remember that this is a big storm. This is not a small storm, so the effects will not be compact. If the storm was on the Outer Banks, it's still going to affect most of North Carolina and Virginia, DC, and that area with rain and wind. You're not going to escape it. So we got to all remember that part. On top of that, there's going to be a full moon, and that's going to make some issues with higher surf than what you would normally see. So there's a couple issues, and we'll get into that as we go along here. Let's take a look at the satellite picture. Here's a look at the storm when we overlaid the plots here, and you see this is right on the track. It's right here, the center of circulation, and it's heading right in this general direction towards the Bahamas. You can see nice outflow going on here. It's buzzsaw looking now. You can see how that's buzzsaws. Look at that buzzsaw look. That's a sign of strengthening storm, and you can see that here. The Hispaniola is barely making an impact on the storm. You can see maybe a little dry air intrusion here, but that's about it. And we're going to look on the bigger scale here on the satellite. You see that the one trough digging in here, you can see Irene here. This is going to keep the west-northwest movement. As this trough lifts out, that'll open up where the weakness is between the high and the low, and that's where it's going to allow it to escape into this generalized location, South Carolina and North Carolina, Virginia, and further up the coast. So as you see, this high pressure is building in already, so once this pushes, this is going to allow that northerly turn, and that's where I would say North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, that's the big threat zone right now. And then beyond that, up the coast and through New Jersey, New York, and those locations, Boston, you can see the central dense overcast. Watch this blow up right around the center circulation. This may be rapidly intensifying at this hour. You may see a Cat 3 by the morning. And like I said, nothing to really bump this out to sea. This is not going to be an out to sea bump. By no means. This is likely a landfalling system along the Carolina coastline. Look at all the models that I consider the models that have a good run potential is the GFS, the H wharf, and the Euro. And let's see, GFS. I like the GFS, and I like the UK Met at this point, and the H wharf. These are the three that I like, just because pattern. And what I'm going to explain to you, something that my meteorologist Fino and myself were discussing. He brings a good point up. The trough has a 12Z Zulu flattening of the trough, which would allow a more western creep in, basically, of the storm. So that's an issue. This may shift further west tomorrow. People are saying, "Oh, it has an eastern trend." Well, the bottom line is, it's not really an eastern trend. It bumps a little east, but it's not turned out. Most times you see these storms, and they get closer to the shore, they bump out to sea real hard. Well, this one's not quite doing that, and at this point, I'm not buying the whole halfway to Bermuda situation. I'm buying a western trend, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia landfalling system. Remember, the Outer Banks sit out pretty far, and that's what makes them so unique. So it's something we got to watch. The ensembles are pretty good. They keep that generalized thought of a landfall there. So that's why I kind of have a good feeling about this. One thing you got to realize, we got hurricane watches now for the Bahamas, and hurricane warnings on the southern Bahamas. I would not be surprised in a day or so you may see a watch go up here along from the Carolinas down to part of Florida. I wouldn't be surprised to throw a watch in there just because there is a little bit of uncertainty still left. But Carolina's definitely a watch within 2 days, hurricane watch. So that's what I'm calling for right now. So, like I said, this is in a predicament where the turn right here would have to be sharp. Now, when it have to be a deep digging trough, this is a more flattening trough, which would allow it to get closer into the coastline. And that's why I'm liking the South Carolina, North Carolina, Outer Banks solution better than any other solution. Stay with liveweatherblogs.com for all your latest weather information. We look to have the chat room open tomorrow on Live Weather Blogs. Also, stay with myself, Mike DeFino, Rob Garino, Nick Robertson, Levi, and all the staff here at liveweatherblogs.com. Members, keep making your blogs. They're really good. I've been reading them. I really like them. So stay with liveweatherblogs.com for all the latest weather information. For liveweatherblogs.com, meteorologist Dean Davison. Have a great night, and we'll talk again tomorrow as this system gets closer to the United States of America.